Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. This podcast is a conversation between two business partners, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. Join us for a lively conversation about all things interior design, from current projects, trade show experiences, worldwide travel, what's in, what's out, and all the challenges and wins they've had running their successful design business. Whether you're a seasoned interior designer, new to the industry, or a creative enthusiast, you will walk away with insightful information, newfound inspiration, and a smile on your face after listening to these two. And here they are, Joanne and Kelly.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 191 of Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. And today we are talking about all the things they don't teach you in design school with our friend and guest, Kate Lester. So if you've listened to us for a while, you know that we are huge advocates of continuing education and just really fine-tuning our craft by constantly attending conferences, hiring coaches, going to market, etc. So a little backstory. Literally, we were trying to figure it out maybe 15 years ago.
I think
we were in LA at the Business of Design conference with David. Business of Design
with David Shepard.
With David Shepard. And so for all of you oldies and goodies, you'll know Business of Design with David Shepard. And we were, I don't remember if we were on break
or. It was a cocktail party.
Oh, okay. And this cutie patootie walks up to us and she says, "Hey, you guys, I'm here alone and you guys look really fun. My name's Kate. Can I hang out with you?"
And the rest is history.
That was literally like verbatim. And we were like, okay, sure. And we've been friends ever since. We spent the whole conference together. And now Kate Lester is really shaking things up in California. And she's probably a way better designer than we are. But you got to
get out
at Kate Lester Interiors and Kate Lester Home, her shop. So we love her design aesthetic. It's all about creating spaces that weave classic lines, vintage finds, modern moments, and also that infusion of at least one weird thing, which is the great part. So her design projects are really, you guys, ridiculously impressive. So go check her out at Kate Lester Interiors.
So not only is Kate crazy talented, she also has a great business mind. She attended USC's prestigious Marshall School of Business and went on to study design and architecture at Otis College in LA. So we love to geek out on interior design business topics.
Yes.
Her energy is infectious. Her humor contagious. She doesn't take herself seriously at all.
Nope.
And so we knew she'd be the perfect guest to dish in down to earth on some touchy subjects that are rarely given the attention they deserve in design school.
Yes. So before we jump into our chit chat with Kate, we want to let you know that Norwalk Furniture has graciously sponsored this episode. Norwalk builds heirloom quality furniture rather than landfill quality furniture. And you know what that's called? That's called sustainable. So doing their part to create healthy homes and environments is a core principle at Norwalk, and we want to be a part of any company that has that mantra. So unlike many other manufacturers, Norwalk has particularly fabulous patterns, bright, fun fabrics that partner with performance fabrics, leathers, and textures like bouclés and velvet, and we turn to them often for that very reason. So if you're in the trade, you really need to check out Norwalk Furniture. Check out their website, norwalkfurniture.com. It's a little different than some others because they have a 360 design tool to help you really visualize the pieces as you build them. And they are shipping in under 8 weeks. So that's always good. So,
yes.
All right.
Thank you, Norwalk.
Yes.
Well, let's go for it. Welcome, Kate.
Hi. It's so good to see your face.
Hi, guys. Wow. Thank you for that introduction. I need you guys before every single one of my client meetings, just coming on in just with that intro. I love it.
We're good. We're good cheerleaders. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's so fun. It has been so fun to see you grow because you were kind of in your infancy back then. So we started our business in 2005 and then you started yours in 2010. So looking back, we were all kind of definitely flying by the seat of our pants. So setting up the foundation of a business is a serious deal and pretty overwhelming. So let's talk about that, because I think we're both in sync on that business systems and processes
are huge,
are very important.
Yeah. I mean, we literally bought a book. I remember buying a book on S Corps versus LLCs, literally.
Right.
And a quick little story. When we were a part of a Ladies Who Launch women's entrepreneurial group when we very first started, and I'll never forget our friend Tanya, who's our friend to this day. She's one of the top electrical contractors in Atlanta. And she said, if you consider yourself a boxer and you're in the ring, and you know how boxers go to the corner and they have the guy that takes the mouthpiece out and the guy that's patting the bloody eye and the guy that's with the spit can and the guy that's massaging the feet. You need to have all of your guys in the corner. Your CPA, your bookkeeper, your this, your that, your attorney, your everything in your corner, or you will lose every boxing match. Yeah. And I'll just 100%. Never forget that. And we left there. We were like, oh my God, do we have a buy-sell agreement? Do we have do we have an attorney? I don't know. What do we do?
And so getting back to the original topic, they don't teach you that in design school.
Right.
They teach you the commercial and the codes and whatever, and then they just throw you to the streets.
Well, I think what's really interesting is when you're in business school, right? When you're in business school at USC, they teach you so many real world applicable models, right? You know, they set you up with internships and they teach you how to write a resume. They teach you how to do an elevator pitch, which if you don't know how to do, it's super applicable in design too, right?
Yes.
You know, maybe you're in an elevator with a potential client and they're like, oh, what do? You know, you should have your elevator pitch, right? So they teach you those things, right? And they set you up for success in the real world. And when I got to design school, it was like somebody was saying to me, oh, here's a CAD toilet and here's a color wheel. And I was like, great, but how am I going to charge? And they're like, I know, but aren't these cool colors amazing? And I was like, yeah, no. How am I going to make money doing this, right? So I think what is lacking is those sort of, you know, how does this translate into the real world? Like, I get cool colors and warm colors, and I get that there's a color wheel, but how am I going to take this history of furniture and how am I going to make money off of this, right? So I think these kids are floundering when they're coming to me via internships and first jobs, and they're talented and they can do Revit and they can do CAD and they can tell me about the freaking Ames chair, you know, until they're blue in the face, right? But they cannot tell me how to get a business license, and they don't know what a profit and loss statement is, which is just makes my little business heart cringe. And so I think that, you know, that's where we're sort of doing a disservice to our future business people, women, men, designers, because we're not elevating our industry as a whole. And we're saying, you know, we're really not teaching them how to be successful.
It almost seems like it needs to either be, if it's going to be a 4-year degree, then 3 years plus the 1 year of business.
Absolutely.
And sales needs to be in there, because you're selling, you know, a project. You could be the most amazing designer.
Selling yourself, right?
Yeah. Or you don't have good sales skills. You know, you have to, you know, have that confidence, whatever. So I really think that part of the school needs to tack on, you know, the kind of the normal business 101.
Absolutely. I've seen many creative, you know, really talented designers that I was shocked that didn't succeed. They would have been in Architectural Digest. I've been, you know, just thought, oh my God, they're so talented. They're better designers than I am, but they're not making as much money as I am. And they're not feeling as comfortable or as confident because they just don't have that business acumen. So I think that's really important. It's something that I think we're leaving out.
Well, yeah, we're into creative, you know, we're creatives, but, you know, and I feel like a lot of designers like Kelly and I that had it as a second career already kind of had that life experience and worked in businesses and so had that. But if you're just coming out of school, I almost feel like you need to work under somebody, don't you, for a little while to get your feet wet?
Do. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of people that come and intern or want a job and they're like, well, I built my house, you know, so I'm really good at this. And I'm just like, first of all, no. Okay. Because when you build your own house, like, don't get me started because you don't have any client pressure. You don't have no. Okay. Secondly, when you're coming straight out of school, you have to work for someone else because you want to make your mistakes with their money, not your own. Okay. Just trust me on that. And B, you want to learn, what you would do and what you wouldn't do. I worked for some really talented designers. I worked for some really crazy designers, right? And, which I will not name any of them. But some that I was like, oh, wow, this is a great tool that I will use in my business and that I still use to this day, right? And then some that I was like, whoa, that is so nutty. I will never do that, right? So you have to. It's just like if you're going to be a CEO, you're not going to just come out of school and be a CEO. You have to work your way up, right? So if you're going to be the CEO of your own design firm, you can't think you're going to do that from day one. You have to have that real life experience, and you should, if you're smart, be doing it with someone else's money.
Yeah, I absolutely
and
agree.
I think coaching is always good, so that kind of like the Lou and Egg era, what's your why? To be able to just really dig down deep and what do you really want to do and go for it from there. So I think coaching, attending design events, networking with people, that's a whole thing. It's not just design school.
Well, and also I think, when setting those foundations, like Tanya really impressed upon us, they can be expensive. So, when we first got together, we marched ourselves to City Hall and we got our business license. I think that was the very first thing that we did. We set up a separate business line, phone number and fax number, so that even though at the time we worked in our home, it felt more professional. We hired an attorney. We drew up a buy-sell agreement, which is something that you want to have when you have partners. We took out life insurance on each other. If one of us were to croak and our business, Kendra Cole, couldn't exist anymore, I need some money to keep me going if she ditches me. So, I don't remember what we've got. It's not huge. It's like $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000, but it's enough to keep us going for a year to get back on our feet. We have a bookkeeper and a CPA. CPA just does taxes and keeps us on a roll, but the bookkeeper keeps. But
your bookkeeper bookkeeper is literally my work wife. I speak to her probably more than I speak to my husband. We are on a constant. He's like, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And I'm like, "No, it's my bookkeeper. No."
Yeah.
So we need to talk about the thing that everybody always wants to know about is, how do you charge?
Right.
And I think the thing that's so interesting about our business is in interior design, you can do whatever the heck you want.
It's crazy.
Whatever's comfortable for you. So Kelly and I do flat fee, you do hourly. Go ahead and tell us about why you do that.
And we've always talked about this, right? I mean, and we've always talked about how some people can be super successful charging a flat fee and some people can be really successful charging hourly, right? And I think that this is something that you really want to understand as a business person is I could tell you exactly how much I charge an hour, and that doesn't mean anything to you because I am not in your market, right? You need to understand your market. So wherever you are, you need to do your market research. So the first thing I did when I entered my market was I called all around to all my competitors and I told them I was building a house. And I said, I'm building a house. Can I get your packet? I'm curious to how much you charge and how you work.
We did the same thing.
I want to know how much you're charging. And I sat on a panel at High Point and the other designers were flabbergasted that I did this. And they're
we did that for our business because we wrote a business plan for ourselves.
First of all, that is called market research, baby. You don't think Coca-Cola does that to Pepsi every 3 weeks? Get out of here. If you are not doing that in your market, you are being silly. Okay. Yes. Know what your competitors are charging because guess what I found out? I was way, way more decorated in press and accolades, and I was charging way less than all of my competitors. Okay. And so the minute I did that, I was like, holy moly, I'm going to add another 4 zeros onto whatever I'm doing here, and I'm going to reevaluate all of this. Right. So I think I charge an hourly rate. I also charge a retainer just to secure a spot in my schedule. If you charge an hourly rate, you're going to need to be prepared that somebody in your office is going to have to track that, right? So this is not, charging an hourly rate is not always the best fit for somebody who works alone, right? Because it's someone in my firm's office to literally just track and bill and, maintain this hourly billing system. So if you have a small firm or if you work alone, is that the right fit for you? Maybe not, right?
Yep.
Do you have to run reports and do you have to give people hourly estimations when they interview with you? Yes. Do I just interview with people and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be like hours and I'm great? No, they're asking, like, rich people still have budgets too. Okay. So they're saying, I'm going to build a 10,000 square foot house and it's going to take 3 years. How many hours is that going to be, Kate Lester? And I'm going to tell them because I have
you've got that history now. That's right.
Yeah,
you've got great history now. So what did you do in the beginning when you didn't have all that history behind you?
So let's say somebody came to me and said, I'm going to do a bedroom. I would do a bedroom and I would say, this is how many hours I think it's going to take. And did I lose my shirt sometimes? Yes. Right. Because I told them it was going to be between this and this. And then did I have to, and do you bill for every hour that you design? No. And like when you're training someone, do you bill for that? No. Right. Like, and do I have to eat hours if we, make a mistake? Yes, of course. Right. It's called the cost of doing business and we should all be understanding that. Right. But generally speaking, I think when people are starting out, sometimes you're doing a flat fee and you really don't know how long it's going to take you. Right. So you're saying, oh, I think it's going to take me X amount of time in this flat fee. And you really don't know. And I just think that a lot of designers doing a flat fee, also people in our industry, understand how long it takes to do what we're doing, right? And we have a value ingrained in for us, right? Regular people, which is what we like to call people, you're going to tell them that number and they're going to lose their mind, right? Usually for a flat fee, especially if you're building a custom home and you're going to be with them for 3 years. I'm going to tell you that number, which is usually the size of a, G-Wagon or, condo in New York City. And they're going to go, what? Right? Yeah. So if you say the investment in our service is going to be about X amount of dollars per month or per square foot of your project per month for the life of the project, well, that's a little bit more digestible, don't you think so? Plus, it makes me look like a freaking business savvy savant, right? Because I've broken it down by square footage for the life of your project based on past projects that I've done before. But by the way, we're just an architectural diagrist. So I think if you're saying, I know what I'm doing and I broke it down based on these past projects and I can do it by square foot and I can do it by month. And this is an investment in my services, in your home, in your project management, right? I think it makes you look like you know what you're doing. And it makes it a little bit more, it makes it a little bit easier to swallow for them as well in those, with those numbers, right?
And I think, like you said, did I lose my shirt a few times? Yeah, there are some painful moments. And what we've kind of, you do a lot of new construction. So I think that the way you charge is the smartest way to charge. We learned that the hard way with some remodels that we did where the GC needed so much babysitting, and
there's third parties involved, right?
Oh my God. And we had built in a little bit of project management money, but we really needed to be there to advocate for our client. And it was a runaway train. And so now what we do is we do a flat fee on the very defined spaces that are, that we've got tons of history on, that we're very comfortable with. It's a very specified scope of work. And then if anything is loosey-goosey, fluid, up for somebody not doing their job, then we charge hourly for that portion. So we kind of we're doing it both ways now. But we had to, have a big ouch to learn that.
It's getting burned.
Getting burned and getting pissed off.
And then you feel confident enough to charge then because you've been burned. You knew how long it took. And you're just being fair. You're not just, throwing this.
So something else that we talk about a lot is like, we are a luxury service, right? A lot of what we do in this industry is we are a luxury service. We are not, we're not here to, not everyone should have a designer. Not everyone needs a designer. What we are is a luxury service. And so a lot of times if you have a flat fee, you have these set parameters, right? That you have to stay within, right? And if our client says to us, we've decided to build a casita, we would like you to design it. And I'm like, oh my God, great. I love a casita. I don't have one, but I hear they're wonderful and I'd love to design yours. Now, what do I have to do? I have to draw up a new contract. right? I have to negotiate said contract and I have to do all this BS because I've done a flat fee, right? But if I'm hourly, what do?
You just
I
keep
just
tacking
start
on.
designing that casita. That's right. So I can do your kid's dorm. I can do your dog's room. I can do your right? I can help the landscaper. I can do whatever you need me to do. I've got a client who owns storage facilities and he's got me picking out colors in his marketing deck because he thinks I'm smarter than his who knows what, right? So it just goes on the bill. So it's like, I think it allows you to be a luxury service and say, I am here for whatever it is you need because my mind is just I'm so talented. Here I am.
As they say,
I think it's a great point. It's a great point.
I'm on retainer.
I'm on retainer.
Yeah, you own me. You own me. I'm the help. Let's go, right? Like, let's do this. I have the gift. Use my gift at this much per hour that we've negotiated. And that hourly rate is only good for 2 years at a time in my contract. Then we'll renegotiate it, right?
Yeah.
So I think,
Sorry, when you have that retainer up in the beginning and you use it all up, do you keep going from there, or do you get another retainer?
That retainer is not applied to anything. That retainer is just to secure the spot in our schedule. It does not go applied to any bills. It basically just says, so what happens here a lot in our area is maybe you hire us and you find the lot and you get all excited and you hire a contractor and then you decide you want a different lot. Well, guess what happened to me? I turned down 2 projects while I was waiting for you to find your lot and your builder and your whatever, right?
Yep.
So that retainer is mine. Okay.
Yep.
It doesn't go applied to your bill. It doesn't go applied to your anything. It's just saying, hey, I turned down 2 projects while I was waiting for you. And that had to cover that monthly billing that I would have been billing you while I was waiting for you to get your shizzle together. Okay.
Right.
So, so we don't do like that. It's just, and a lot of times it takes our clients a while to like gather their team and like, maybe we get hired first or we get hired, very early on. So, the retainer is just the retainer.
Okay, that's very interesting because when we've done retainers, we've applied the hourly against it.
We used to do it like that too.
We re-up the retainer, but for your circumstance and your market, I think that's very smart to do because you're turning down jobs. I mean, you have to be compensated.
And these are jobs
holding that.
It just years.
It depends on what kind of projects you're doing, right? If you're doing new construction and you're waiting and it's a waiting game while they go through the art jury, they go through the coastal commission or whatever it is, you got, again, know your market, right? And know what time is money, right? So if you know your market, then you can charge and bill accordingly and you can be compensated accordingly, right?
Yeah. Okay. So as I was bringing up before, why we decided to kind of vary our contract was because of the time involved working with general contractors and subcontractors. Perfect example. We're working on a commercial space right now for multifamily. Our contractor calls us and he says, I didn't order the carpet in time. I forgot to order the carpet. I just called on it. And now we specified this carpet a year ago.
It's discontinued.
It's discontinued. And oh, by the way, the installer's coming in a week. Could you quickly
reselect?
Okay, so drop everything, cussing like sailors. Off we go. Our showroom manager has to check inventory. Everybody's, like fire drill, which we can't stand because we're not that kind of person. And then it happened again for the countertop. Different sub calls us.
Right.
Supposed to install the next day. That quartz I selected for the big printer station, it's not going to be here in time.
Right.
What do you mean? You're installing tomorrow. Fire drill. So how do you deal with that kind of shenanigans?
This is a 2-part answer. The first part answer is we've eliminated some of this in, I don't do a ton of commercial because some of that reasoning, right? And then B, I don't like commercial really, but we are doing a few commercial projects as we speak. And we in the luxury residential market, we say to the contractors, there are certain things that are super complicated, right? Sometimes our tile designs are customized, and then if I'm customizing tile and I'm, making my own custom mosaics, and I'm dealing with, certain vendors, and, 3/4 of my tile schedule is super complicated. You don't have anyone in your office to deal with this, right? It's a 10-page tile schedule. I want to buy it all. Right. Also, I know how your fee structure works. Okay. So if I increase the value of the tile from what you've originally allocated to the client, you make more money, which is weird because I selected all the tile. Right. So if you purchase it and then you buy it, you're making more money, but I picked it all. So how does that make sense? Right?
Well, how's he making the money if you purchased it?
Well, no. So if I purchase it, then I make the money, right? And then I'm in charge of it. And then I know it's getting purchased on time. And then I know it's correct. Because what's happened to us is maybe they purchase it on time, but they don't open the boxes, or they don't check it, or they
oh my God, all the time.
Get it. Yeah. Right? So what we've, my poor project managers are like, oh my God, it was all delivered to the house. I made sure it was all delivered to the house, and I have the receipts, but they never opened it for 7 months. It sat in the garage, and now they opened it, but the return, policy is 30 days, as it should be. Right. And then the clients are like, well, who's responsible? Right. So what we do is we say, we're in charge. We're going to receive it. We're going to check it right away. We're going to make sure it's right. We'll be responsible. We'll make sure it's right. We're going to take responsibility for the whole design concept. We're going to make sure it's right. We're going to make sure it's delivered somewhere safe. We're going to make sure it makes it to the site. And then once it's on site, it's all you. Right. So, and then we will earn our commission or our percentage or whatever it is, because we're going to make sure it's correct until it gets to the site. Right.
The problem that I feel like we have is problems come up on behalf with one of the subs or one of the GCs, and we get involved just because we're very high touch, right? So it's not, and many times it's nobody's fault. It's just we have to be there to check it out, and it just becomes we always treat that kind of as a cost of business.
Yeah. Well, we have to kind of keep them. We have to keep them in check.
Yeah. But
that's project management. I mean, that's it is, you are making sure that those things that you've specified are being installed to your specifications, right? So you're specifying that design, and then you have to make sure that from specification to installation, that those things are installed correctly and to the way that you want them to be. And that is actually what in our office, we consider that one of the most important parts of the project, right? Like one of our contractors said, like, the tile installation or the, paint or whatever it is, those meetings, and what we try to do to be most efficient is say, hey, I don't need the guy who owns the tile company there. I need the guy who's installing the tile to be there. So I meet with John or my, like, I want to talk to that guy, right? I want to give that guy my cell phone number and be like, hey, you talk to me. Okay. You call me when you have any questions. You can text me anytime, picture, video, we can FaceTime, or I'll get up and I'll come over.
Absolutely.
But don't you dare slap a Schluter on there when you're not sure what to do. Okay.
Yep. And what's funny? I feel like a lot of times the GC doesn't want you to have the sub cell numbers and all that, but we're always like, give us your cell phone number, FaceTime us if you need us.
I mean, I think once like you unload one time where you're like, what in the heck is this? What happened here? Who picked growl without me? Then they're like, just give Kate your number because I don't want to hear that.
Yes, totally.
Let me ask you something though. A couple of things. One, how do you handle warranty information? Then you're like the one they have to go back to because you purchased it, right? Okay. Is that a pain?
Well, no. So
very often?
So it doesn't really happen very often. And a lot of times, like once the stuff is installed, for tile and stuff, it's hard, right? Because like once it's installed, maybe if there's a discoloration or issues, but our vendors are so great, right? Like we use the same vendors, we use these incredible vendors. We've never really had an issue. Yeah. And then, you know, our contractors are great too, and they use great installers. So we'll be able to say like, is this an installation issue or is this a manufacturing issue? And we haven't really had, you know, too many problems there. I don't do plumbing and appliances because that is a 100% contractor
situation. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's no bueno. I don't do wood floor. I can provide the wood floor, but I do like I'll spec it, but I don't want to be involved in that. You know, so there's certain things we won't touch, you know, that I don't want to deal with. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're using vendors, reputable vendors and manufacturers that you feel like stand behind their products, I think that you should feel comfortable going back to them, just like with your furniture vendors, right? Like, you know, same way you deal with that, right? Like if you make a custom product, you're standing behind that as well.
I think that's a great point to realize that, you know, you have to A, stay in your wheelhouse, but B, manage your drama, manage your stress levels, and be involved in what you feel you have the backing to be involved with. And so
and then
if tile is your big, exactly. And it's okay to say, you know, appliances, it's really, you don't need me in the middle. But tile, you know, this is something that I really need to project manage. I really need to be involved in this. Well, I'm going to purchase everything from a quality assurance.
There's a lot of room for error. When I think about some of our projects, the tile just, it does end up becoming, there's little issues, right? With the grout.
Yeah, and I think,
of course, we hand everything to the contractor on a silver platter where everything is, but somehow that piece of paper got lost or, you know, oh, they had some extra grout from somewhere else, so they're going to use that for this project. No.
Yeah. And I think that's just something like you talked about, you know, the interactions with contractors and subcontractors is something they don't even touch on in school, right? They don't even really explain to you how much, especially if you're doing do new construction like we do. I mean, the interaction, the way to finesse that, the way to approach that. If you're a woman, if you're a strong-willed woman, if you know, I mean, I remember walking to my first job site and, you know, I had just started my company, but, you know, I'm super knowledgeable. I have a background in interior architecture and but I look like I'm 10, right? And I wear like, you know, I mean, today I'm wearing like, you know, I got my like checkered Vans on, right? And I wear like ripped jeans and I look like I'm 10 years old, right? So I roll up to the job site and the contractor says to me, "Hi." And I said, "Hi, how are you?" You know, and he says, "All right, well, we'll just wait till your boss gets here and we'll get started." And I'm like, So I give it like 3 seconds, you know, while I'm just like waiting for the color to like come back to my face. And I said, you know, okay, Gary, well, I am the boss and window number 32 is in the wrong place. Okay. And so I think you want to know your stuff, right?
Yep.
You want to be assertive but then you also want to know how to finesse the situation so that, you know, you can make some jokes and you want to be, you know, they don't teach you that. And so that's something I really work on with my team is, you know, after that, Gary and I became great friends. Right. And, you know, and we laughed and we were able to have a great project together. But, you know, you have to know that there's an old system of contracting. There's a new system of contracting and you have to play to that and you have to work the room just like you would in a boardroom or in anything. And I think they don't teach you that in school. And those internships that you would get, you know, just like in business, you have to go have those. You have to go have those and work for someone else. You have to watch your owner or your lead designer have those interactions. You have to pick up on those things, those client interactions, those contractor interactions. Your subs could be your best friends or they could be your worst enemies. I can't tell you how many times I've said to the sub, you know what, just send me a bill. I'm so sorry. That was my mistake. And they've said like, get out. You're so awesome to work with. Don't worry about it. Right. So that could have been a $500 bill or it could have been a don't worry about it because last week I brought the guys pizza because they were doing such a great job. Right. Like, so he was like, you always take care of my guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So,
you know it's like when that contractor called us last week and it said, I forgot to order the carpet. Oh my God. You know, we were like, no problem. We got that. We got you. Nobody even needs to know. So we'll go, we'll reselect and it's just between us. And
And we took care of it. He was like, oh my God, I love you guys right now. And you want them to love you. Yeah. You really do.
Yeah. But they don't really teach you that. They don't teach you how important those relationships are. And I think there tends to be in our industry, like that there needs to be this like animosity. And I don't think so. Like a lot of our referrals come from our contractors. And I think that if you create this team atmosphere, you really can have a synergy with them, and you can really be more successful in the long run if you look at it from a positive standpoint.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be working on a project for 2 years, you want it to be pleasant. You don't want to feel tension every time you walk in, and you don't want to be like at each other. You want it to be like a really good, be a good relationship, and it's always a win-win.
Well, I think it's taken us a while. We know that we're great designers. We know that we have our, stuff together. But we still have things we don't know and things that we're learning. So I remember this wasn't that long ago. We had a project, and the project manager, who we didn't really get along with, he would constantly use words to like test our knowledge.
Right.
And I knew exactly what he was doing. And I just had to stand up straight and look him in the eye and say, I don't know what that means.
What that means. Yeah.
Talk to me. And because I know that I'm super great at 95%. Okay. So, I don't know what word you're throwing at me, because I know you're doing it on purpose, so, but like you said, we have learned so much from our subs and our contractors. I feel so much smarter at the end of a project because we've learned so much from them. And I don't think you need to be nervous about saying, talk me through that. When you start talking, I'll have an opinion, but talk to me first about it, because I need to understand.
If a contractor came up to me and said, what is twall? I would be like very impressed. Number one, that he even heard the term, and that he asked, because that's how you learn. You ask questions, and I think to think you know it all.
Being something that we always do is when we come up with a concept, right? We're not just giving them an image from, Pinterest or a magazine or book, right? We're saying, okay, we found this, right? And then they look at us and they're like, Jesus, Kate, like, oh God, okay, here we go again. And then I'm like, okay, so I was thinking last night at 2 a.m, because I don't sleep, how we're going to build this. Okay. And here's my idea. Right. And so right away, I'm saying to them, I'm not being a jerk. I'm not just coming to you with this picture. Right. I'm thinking, so if we took this and then we did drywall here, and then we put, here, and then we only tiled to here. Do you think that would work? Like, so if I'm saying, hey, I'm trying to think about it from your perspective, and I respect you, right, and your trade, and I'm not just trying to be a jerk and giving you this picture and be like, you figure it out. That's your job. I'm just a decorator. So I think when you're coming to your subs and your contractors and you're saying like, yes, I know this is ridiculous. Look, it's like a floating fireplace with like a fish tank or whatever you're doing, right? Come to them with some sort of solution. We are in the solutions industry, right? And at least pretend like you've thought about it, and that maybe Google how to try to build it, right? Or sketch something. And then if you don't, if they're like, well, that's not going to work, just ask why. Like help me understand why. So the next time I come up with an idea, that I have some idea on how to build it, right? And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten down on the ground with a marker and been like, okay, but look at this side detail. Like, could we do it like this? And they've been like, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe we could. When their first answer was no, right? And we get there together. And then at the end of the day, it's a better product for your client rather than just that no. And then your contractor's like, oh, I respect you now as a designer who understands the build process and respects me. Right. So I think, and then you form that better relationship. Yeah.
It's creative collaboration, and it's so important. And I think that the respect grows from the subs and the whole team when you are confident enough to have those conversations.
And say, and be confident enough.
Yes, I've got this great idea, but you guys, this is your wheelhouse to help bring it to light. Like, and then they feel good too.
It's nice to have a contractor that's open to it, who doesn't want to just do vanilla. Yeah, it's really nice because help them.
To be honest, they all want to do the vanilla, and that's okay. And you can say that's okay. I understand that you did that on, that house and that house and this house. All our streets are like numbered here, right? So they'll be like, oh, we did that. We did this great fireplace on 32nd. I'm like, that's great. I've seen that fireplace 42 times. We're going to do something different because you know what? We can do better than that. And I want to do something completely different. I want to be, I think we owe it to these clients to do something different and unique and interesting and that everybody else is going to want to do. Right. And I think that if you say to them, I think we can be better than that. I think we can do better than that. I think we can rise to the challenge to give our clients something unique and one of a kind. I don't think anybody is going to just be like, no. Right. I think if you do it that way, instead of being like, don't be lazy, which is really what you want.
Right.
But,
everybody needs to come out of their comfort zone every now and then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Isn't there just so much that you learn on the ground? I mean, I'm just so grateful that this was a second career for me because the sales acumen, the financial acumen, the things that we learned in our first careers before we switched to design have been the building blocks that we needed. And really, I feel like what I've gained over the last 20 years of us working together has been just more of a maturity in terms of my patience level, not getting hysterical, being respectful of people, not having to be the big boss all the time, but wanting to be more of a partner.
Even managing people like your employees or, just anything, even just like when I was working with the team on, I have a rug line with Jaipur rugs, right? And even when I was working on my licensing agreement and just working with that, right? And talking to their team and working on, what I think I'm worth versus what they think they're worth and what they think I'm worth, right? And from a business perspective and saying, okay, well, if each rug generates this much per percentage for this, and, you're talking about these numbers. I think if you don't have that business acumen, you may get really excited and be like, oh my God, I'm going to get a rug line. You can just have me for free, which is what you want to say, right? You're like, shoot, I'm going to be on the elevator at High Point Market. Like, take me. So, but you, right?
Yeah.
So, you can't do that. So you have to know your value and your worth. And you have to be able to monetize that and say, I'm worth this percentage and this dollar amount. And this is what I'm going to bring to you. And this is what you're going to bring to me. I think that I never look back and say, oh, my time spent at business school or in corporate America was wasted. Because everything is a business. Even my daughter who wants to play softball for the rest of her life, when we're talking about like NIL money or licensing agreements for her, or even as a child getting an agent or all these things, like those are things that like, that's still business. Like she's got
life is a business. Life is a business.
She's not going to make money playing softball. She's got to make money with Gatorade, right? So you got to make money doing whatever you're doing. Even if you're an artist or if you're a ballet dancer, you've got to make money, right? Doing what you love. The business acumen, really, you have to learn it no matter what, because then you can do what you love and you can monetize it. So it's really important.
We have a lot of new designers that listen to us, and I think this is just a great reminder that you do not need to go and run your own business right out of school, and you shouldn't. And you should go and get your feet wet. I would say for a solid, even 5, 8, 10 years before you go out on your own. I mean, like you said, make mistakes on somebody else's dime, but the things that you can learn, the interns that we have had, the things that they saw and have experienced us see, nobody can teach you that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, I think it depends on
an excellent reminder
you want to do, right? Like if you just want to be doing like single room design, maybe you can do a couple of years for someone else, right? If you're just furnishing and if you want to get into construction, it's a whole other ballgame, right? It's a lot of liability. It's a lot of, if you want to have a team of people and, like I do, if you want to get into retail, if you want to yes, you're going to have to really do a deep dive, right? But if you want to just do some decorating and do, maybe a year or two, you can learn the ins and outs. You can learn they don't teach you anything about our industry, right? They don't teach you about going to markets. They don't teach you about COL and COM. They don't teach you about vendor relations. Like they don't teach you how to get a credit card. I mean, we have people that come into our retail stores, right? Like it's so funny. Like we have designers that come into the retail stores, and the girls the stylists that work in the retail stores, in my stores, say, would you like to memo? And they're like, what is a memo? And I'm thinking to myself, like, you are a designer. Like, you don't know what a memo is? And, when I think about it, like, I didn't know what a memo was when I was coming out of school either. And so teaching just general, like, can you imagine right? Like, can you imagine if you didn't know, like, I can borrow this for 24 hours and take it to my client's house and give you my credit card. And if they like it, I can keep it. Like, wow, that's a really great thing that's offered, like a trade program. Like, they don't teach you the basics of our industry. Like, they teach you the basics of the finance industry when you go to business school. Like, they teach you like what a call and a margin is in finance. Like, they don't teach you these words. So I think that, really, like, I'm so passionate about this, like, that I think that there's so much lacking. It doesn't mean I'm going to go teach at design school because, I make real good money doing what I'm doing now, but
you might eventually when you get tired.
I don't think so. I'm not going to be in the Maldives somewhere, honey. But I think, I think that, like, really, we really need to have a call to action and be like, hey, we need to elevate this because it really lives, you're talking about Grace Blue and, I was talking with Wendy from Black Band Design, and we were saying, like, when we all are smarter and we are all more business savvy and we are all talking about this, it elevates our entire industry. So if we're gatekeeping and we're not talking about this and we're saying, like, oh, I do this, but I'm not going to talk about it because I want to be successful, that doesn't help anyone because you can have my whole playbook, but you're not me. Trust me. Okay.
Amen,
like, I got
sister.
jokes. Okay. They're bad, but I got them. Okay. And so you can do, so I can share and I want to share and I want to make you better because it makes everyone better, right? It makes our whole industry better. True. And if we all level up, then our whole industry levels up. And then I don't get clients coming to me saying, well, my last designer passed her discount on to me. And I'm like, dear God. So,
dear God is right.
I think, so that's why I'm doing this. And that's why we're always saying, like, I'm always sharing on my Instagram. So follow along. And I am always giving truth bombs about the industry. And I will always share. I will always be honest. Every panel I speak on, every time I'm, on a podcast, I will always be honest about my journey and my model and what I'm going through, because I really think that if we are all open and honest, just like you guys, it makes our whole industry better.
Well, your Instagram is one of my very favorites.
Yeah. And as busy as you are, that's really nice that you take the time to do that because that's kind of just giving back. And we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Well, they usually pay you, but thank you. Well, you didn't pay me, but I always have time for you.
With love and affection. So how can people find you? What's the best way?
I'm always on the gram, KL Interiors. Please come to my gram. And I do actually run my Instagram myself. So if you slide into my DMs, it's me. Okay. I will.
That's what I love about it.
Yep. I will respond. And I talk not just about design. I actually share a little bit about my actual life. Because I think it is not, I think our mantra at my house is perfect is boring. And you will see that I live very, very truthfully through my mantra. And you can also go on the website. You can also check out the retail side of our company, which is Kate Lester Home. We are working on a brand new site right now. So that'll be launching next month in May. So you'll see that something cool is coming. So pop your email in there and you'll be the first to know. We are working on a really great trade program with something super cool and tech savvy that's coming very soon. So I'm really excited about it. We are also working on Yes, and we are also working on maybe a mentoring program, so something very cool. So I'm really looking forward to all the things that are coming that I'm really passionate about. So yeah,
you're awesome.
Well, you're awesome.
We love you.
Yep.
You're awesome.
I'm so glad
awesome.
you tapped us on the shoulder that day long ago.
I know, me too. I love it.
So brave to do that.
I just knew you guys were going to be cool.
Well, you were so brave to do that.
Yep.
So brave to go to a conference by yourself.
I'm reading
and then find friends.
I'm reading a book right now that's called Luck Happens. And it does happen, but you have to put yourself in places to get that luck.
Yes.
And you got lucky that day. And we got lucky.
And we got lucky.
We all got lucky. I love you guys.
All right. Well, hold on while we do our quotes and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So
sounds great.
You're the funny one.
I'm
for
the
sure.
I'm so the funny one.
Sure.
Yeah, ready? This is totally me. I am not that friend who will tell you to stop traveling to save money. I will tell you to call in sick and lead us both into financial ruin, but at least we'll have the memories.
So true.
That's me all day long.
So
I am the
true.
bad influence, especially when it comes to travel. You're a bad influence when it comes to shopping.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay. So the serious quote: the next time you feel afraid to leave what's comfortable in pursuit of what's meant for you, remember this: the goal is not to fit in. The goal is to expand. And that is from Powerhouse Women on Insta. This was
good.
such a great episode. Way too short. There's so much
So
more.
much to talk
This could be
about.
like a whole
Yes.
series.
Yes.
But we want to thank you, Norwalk, for sponsoring, and thank you, Kate, so much for coming.
Thank
and
you, ladies.
spending your time
I'm so
with us.
proud of
Yeah.
you. I
Great
love this
nuggets
podcast.
of wisdom. Nuggets
Yeah.
of wisdom.
So remember to reach out to us if you want to hear more of episodes like this. You can email us on, there's so many ways to get to us. podcast@candrack-cole.com, info@candrack-cole.com. Reach out to us on any social media.
Yep.
We run our social media as well. So when you send a message, it is coming straight to us. So we take them all very seriously. So thank you, Kate. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly for a new episode every other Friday as they continue to explore the nuances of the interior design business with the goal of informing, inspiring, and entertaining their listeners. See their work at candrack-cole.com and engage with them on Facebook and Instagram @CandrackCole.